submarine base in northern Russia that there are fears of a catastrophic nuclear accident there. Like millions of other public employees in Russia, the people responsible for keeping a fleet of laid-up nuclear submarines safe haven't been paid for months, and some are now close to starvation. All are demoralized. The base at Severodvinsk near Archangel is still closed to outsiders, but our Moscow correspondent Julian Mannion got in for this worrying special report.
On a frozen bay in the far north, a man goes fishing. He starts by cutting a hole in the ice. It's not sport, it's to try and feed his family. And he's not a fisherman, he's a nuclear engineer with Russia's northern submarine fleet, who hasn't had a real wage packet for more than 6 months. Russia's nuclear subs remain a fearsome military force, still armed with ballistic missiles that could devastate whole continents. There's still pride in this power, but behind the scenes in the submarine bases, there's crisis. Obsolete subs rot at anchor with their nuclear reactors still on board because there's no cash to decommission them. And the men who are supposed to ensure their safety have had virtually no money since last summer. The base at Severodvinsk is at the center of this secret drama. Checkpoints outside the town are supposed to keep foreign journalists out. But we got through and entered a closed community that was once the pride of the Soviet system and is now facing economic ruin. It seems inconceivable that any government would simply stop paying workers who are involved in such a sensitive and potentially dangerous task as maintaining nuclear submarines. But here in the shipyard at Severodvinsk, that is precisely what is taking place. And people who know what is happening inside the shipyard say that the consequences could be catastrophic. It was in the yard that we met Sergei Malakov, the man who spends his spare time fishing through the ice. His job is to maintain the nuclear reactors of laid-up submarines, and he's close to despair.
I have a family with 2 children. Our financial situation is quite desperate. I gave my last few rubles to my daughter so she could get some food at school.
Sergei's work involves nuclear safety, but at home, dinner is a bag of chicken's feet. The shipyard gives its workers occasional tiny sums of money to prevent them from actually starving. But the town, which used to be a privileged place, is dying. The main food shop has plenty of stock, but no customers, and now plans to close. One man is doing his best to draw attention to the crisis. Trades union leader Alexander Usov told me that the present situation in the yard could cause a devastating nuclear accident.
People who are hungry and driven to despair are potentially dangerous in this kind of work. If they make a mistake, there could be a real catastrophe that would affect both Russia and neighboring countries.
For now, the tragedies in this Navy town are smaller in scale, but still deeply painful. Raisa Grocheva is head nurse at the hospital. Her husband was a senior doctor, but shortly before Christmas, he killed himself. He too had not been paid for months, and his widow says that he simply could not bear the humiliation of poverty.
It seems that people here are simply not needed. We've been left to the mercy of fate.
The Russian government's decision to starve the nuclear shipyards of funds is a gamble, and the question is how many lives in Russia and perhaps beyond that gamble will destroy. Julian Mannion, News at 10, Severodvinsk.
In tonight's football, Chelsea beat Leicester with a